Man. Jason Kelce had some things to say about this team going into week 3, which I think is really interesting. The roster in general, a return player has come back this week and definitely a few more days. And we are playing Monday Night Football into our week 3 matchup.
We better turn around. Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
Yo, what is going on, guys? I hope everyone's having a fantastic day. I hope everybody's enjoying their work week, getting ready for the weekend, and getting ready to play our third game of the season against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Monday night, which, yeah, it's going to be an interesting game, and I think there's definitely a lot to say about it. But Jason Kelce had some things to say on WIP. I don't know if it was this morning or whatnot. We talked about this team, and the temperature of this team is a little bit on edge. This offense hasn't been playing up to par the past couple weeks. I understand you have 2 new coordinators. I understand, I didn't think we'd be in this much of a slum, I guess, with Brian Johnson kind of taking the reins, at the coordinator spot. Now, Kelce did say this team could easily be 1-1 right now, which I could totally agree with. That Vikings game, between if the Eagles didn't make those 4 turnovers, if things didn't happen the way it did, yeah, of course. I think that's with every football game. Every mistake that a team makes, is the probability of getting lower to lose that, the probability of getting higher to lose that game. The Eagles didn't get the touchback. The Eagles didn't get the few turnovers that they had, causing the fumble. Obviously, this is players making plays. I can't go on what if every single game, because we could say that about any game we had last year if things went wrong, when our defense in the second half was kind of giving the other team life every single game. Thank God that we had that high-powered offense. This year's definitely seems like a different identity. I don't think we found it yet. I think these 2 coordinators are trying to find their way right now. People need to stop going into these games that we have to win out in style. Yes, of course, I would love to play every single game, sit back, stream, be very comfortable, and not have any problem and sit there and have no issue with it whatsoever. It's nice to be up 3-4 touchdowns in the game and not have to worry about much of anything. But these are character building wins. I feel like these coordinators will find their way. You have to give it a timetable here. If you're going into week 5, week 6, and your offense still looks like this, then there are questions have to be raised on, I don't know. I don't know how long this really has to take. And maybe this team does change to a certain identity this year. Maybe they focus more on the run game, that opens up the pass. Maybe Brian Johnson has a different way of doing it. Jason Kelce, is going to be realistic about this team. He's not going to sugarcoat anything. He's not going to throw anybody under the bus. But at the end of the day, I think when it comes to this team, he's coming back. He came back this year, okay, because he felt like this offense was, that this was still a win now team. As long as that's the case, he's going to stay here. But 2-0 is 2-0 at the end of the day. How you win out in style does not matter. Like I said, you want to be comfortable in these games. You're not always going to have comfortable games all the time, but I think dealing with this early, instead of having the early success and winning by a lot of points, and that's what everybody wants. But I feel like when you have these adversity type wins where you're dealing with a lot of issues in game, I think this really builds on a lot of good things going forward with the season. Even here's another thing. It's we played the Vikings last Thursday night. Kirk Cousins, has 364 yards, 4 touchdowns, has a massive game. Statistic-wise, looks really good. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really amount to anything when you lose the game. I know people have been complaining that the Eagles are running the football too much and they have to get these receivers involved, and I totally understand that. But what works is what works in games. And the less that Jalen Hurts has to, throw the football, or less that he has to do much of anything in the game, and it's really these running backs doing everything, I can't ask for more. You know what I mean? The less that Jalen Hurts has to do, the better it's going to be, But he gets paid for doing what he does and making plays. But if you're able to get away with a game and get away with some games where the running game is working so well that it's less on Jalen Hurts and his body and throughout the year, it doesn't make Jalen Hurts less, a bad quarterback or anything like that. That's why these running backs are here to take the pressure off of Jalen Hurts at the end of the day. DeAndre Swift with 28 carries, 28 carries for 175 yards. You're not going to see that every game. Obviously, you have some injuries you had injuries at the position last week, but it takes pressure off, and that's where it matters the most. Okay, so I don't think this team is on a hot streak. I don't think this team is on a cold streak right now when it comes to play, but I think they're just still trying to find their way in this whole entire mess. So if the statistics don't pop out for Jalen Hurts, it doesn't, and I understand there's some things that are kind of weird right now. I feel like Brian Johnson has not gotten, Jalen Hurts into a rhythm with the combination of plays. I think the route concepts from these wide receivers, where are you working middle of the field right now? Are all these defenses going to play cover zero? You know what I mean? So, going into this Monday night game could be a little revenge game for Jalen Hurts because he didn't really play well the last time we played Tampa Bay in that wild card game, and that was the end of our season, and it was pretty embarrassing because nothing really worked in that game. It just looked really bad. So really going forward, I think there's, a bit of, not a learning curve, but I feel like this offense and this defense and two new coordinators. And I felt more like we were going to have more issues on defense with a new defensive coordinator. And I felt like we were going to have to build this thing from the ground up again. I think what else saves this team at the end of the day is you have really good players on this roster. You know what I mean? I know the Eagles are having issues in the secondary right now when it comes to the nickel spot, or the Eagles moving Bradberry to the inside. What's going on there? So Kelce, I don't say Kelce's in a panic mode or he seems like he's worried, but this team is definitely 100% not playing up to par with the amount of roster talent that they have. There's no doubt about it. And I'm expecting better play every single week. Have we seen better play from this offense the last couple weeks? Yes, I think it has increased indefinitely, but there's going to have to come a time where things can't look bold, and we need to stop with screen passes. We need to stop with Jalen Hurts design runs when you don't need them. You have running backs to take the pressure off him, and I think that second game was a really good example of taking pressure off your quarterback and not using your quarterback so much when you don't really need to. You know what I mean? And that's a great thing. I think that's awesome. So Kelce's not worried, but I think it's just being realistic with ourselves. We easily could have lost these last two games. There's easily. There's no doubt. The first game was more really on the defense, and the second game, our run game, was just the defense was getting turnovers, and our offense, our run game was really making stops. So my question is, with Brian Johnson, because this isn't Shane Steichen anymore, is this offense going to change through a different type of identity? Maybe it doesn't run through Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, or Dallas Goedert anymore. But I feel like it kind of has to. I feel like, you cannot run the ball more than pass the ball. It can't happen. But maybe just to get Jalen Hurts comfortable, because it's not up to, Jalen Hurts, has been missing wide receivers wide open. There's been some things that have been questionable. I don't think he's regressing. I just think it's just a different coordinator and just trying to get him acclimated and get the right combination of plays together to get him comfortable in the offense. He's got to follow a certain amount of plays. You're doing play action first down every single series last game. The Vikings weren't fazed by it. There's just a lot of vanilla-esque, bold, very plain plays, like we're still trying to hide things. Obviously, last week it didn't help that the Eagles were in a short week. Obviously, it didn't help that the Eagles didn't have a starting safety, starting corner, Like we had three key injuries, to our defense last week. So I get it. You had to put in two undrafted guys. I get it. So there's a lot going on. The short week could affect a lot of things last week. It's not easy to deal with a short week. If you're dealing with a short week, week 6, week 7, that's fine because the Eagles have played a lot of games. If you're dealing with a short week, the first week of the season, it's not easy as everyone expects. As much as we can nitpick at the game, as much as we can be upset about how they played, playing on a short week, your first week with 2 new coordinators, is not the most suffice thing that you'd want to go through going forward. So that's all I really got to say on it, not to make a big deal about it, but, Kelce's comments, like, I get it. I'm on his side with that. We haven't played up to par. I get it. We could have been 1-1. We could have, but the Eagles are fighting right now. And these 2 new coordinators have really got to, step their game up a little bit when it comes to the game of football and how to use these players and put them in the right situations and just look better, and just play design better. I think that's the number one thing right now. And I don't question anybody in this roster that can't get the job done, but we'll see. Now, it looks like James Bradberry did return to practice. So he is back. I don't know what's going on with Quez Watkins with the hamstring. Hopefully by Saturday, Sunday, we'll find out, who's active, what's going on. Is Olamide Zaccheaus going to have a shot here? What's going on with Reed Blankenship? So far, Bradberry is back, which is a great thing, a fantastic thing coming off concussion protocol. So he is back. Still have it. Don't know what's going on with the corner. We worked out William Jackson III. I know there's a lot of other corners out there in the free agent market. They haven't worked out anybody else. They haven't brought in a nickel corner per se. How much trust do they have in Mario Goodrich? Are they moving Bradberry to the inside? I think Josh Jobe played very well last week. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be still question in the air right now. And lastly, Nick did say, about Nick Sirianni on DeAndre Swift, saying if he's got the hot hand on Monday night, we'll keep rolling with him. Stop this bullshit about the hot hand. Just stop. Don't be afraid to say that DeAndre Swift is your best back. I think Tampa Bay or any other team knows right now that Swift looks like the better back than anybody. And I'm not even just saying from one game, because Gamewell was out and Boston Scott had a concussion and Rashad Penny only had 3 snaps. It was more of a reserve back last week, but we got to be realistic with ourselves here. I've talked about this pretty much in every damn video since that Vikings game. You know where your bread is buttered here, okay? You know where it's buttered, and it's buttered with DeAndre Swift right now. And we're going to find out about this hot hand, because I'm telling you right now, I've said this in every video so far. I've said if the Eagles decide that Kenny Gainwell is getting majority of snaps, if they give him majority snaps and isn't playing well and not really getting many yards, it's just being very average at running, and Swift is still sitting back there, look, I don't care. Like, if you want to put DeAndre Swift, if Quez Watkins is out and they don't want to use Zaccheaus, and I think they have to get Zaccheaus involved. I would love to get the wide receiver 3s involved this week. I think A.J. Brown's going to have a big game, against Tampa Bay. I feel like this is going to be his game this week, but we'll see. The running back core is one of my favorites this year, because I feel like we actually have a running back 1 in the building, and I think he really showed that last week. DeAndre Swift only took, I think off a break, he took 3 plays off, that he took another 3. He probably took maybe 6 or 7 plays off at a rest at a 28 snaps on 175 yards is great. If the run game is working, it's putting less pressure on your quarterback, and Jalen Hurts has to do less to nothing. That's perfectly fine, man, because, like I said, I talk about stats, and sometimes statistics don't matter at the end of the day, at the end of the game, So that's all I got to say about that. And, just getting prepared for the weekend, and, going to get prepared for Thursday Night Football tonight. And then obviously watch, week 3 starts tonight. So very excited about this weekend. How do you guys feel about this weekend? How do you guys feel about Monday Night Football? What are they doing at the nickel corner spot? What do you think about that? And do you think Nick goes with the hot hand of the game, or do you think it's mostly a smokescreen and DeAndre Swift is definitely the focal point back going into every single week now? And what do you think about Jason Kelce's comments about the temperature is on the edge? Are we playing up to par? Can we play better? How many weeks is it going to take? We're going to find out. If you guys last us all in this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you like the video as well for more Eagles content every single day. And I will see you guys in the next one. Shakes, what up? Follow, so I peace out, guys. Peace.